Awesome day to you, awesome people, and welcome for joining us another week of What's Your Story, where we share, empower, heal, and inspire. I do thank you for joining us to get your midweek awesomeness on. My name is Shenrika. I am your host or hostess with the mostest, however you want to say it. But again, I thank you. I truly appreciate you all, whether you're joining us here live or going to catch the replay if you're on Facebook or YouTube. Please hit the like button, share button, drop some comments. If you like, hit the bell icon and, to subscribe, all of that good and great stuff. But again, my name is Shenrika and I am your host for What's Your Story, which we come to you every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today is 2 o'clock. But, I have very busy guests. They're doing, awesome things. So I have to catch them when I can catch them. And I'm just grateful that they, allow me to catch them when I can. So, but before we get started, just to let you know, What's Your Story, is brought to you by Say Something, which is an online store where you can find custom apparel for inspiration and elevation. So check that out at saysomething.company.site. And it is also brought to you by Kids Love Money. It's a book series that teaches children financial literacy, one concept at a time. And it is available at I'm about to tell you, say something again. But it's available at kidslovemoney.shop. Again, that's Kids Love Money. They just don't understand it. It's a book series for children. So check that out. And kidslovemoney.shop. Where are my thoughts today? Everywhere, but right here, right? That's not good. But we're going to get it right. But yeah, I got another awesome guest, y'all. Maybe you've seen him, maybe you hadn't, but guess what? If you hadn't, you're in for a really, 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 really great treat. He is the sales coach, the sales confidence coach. Look at my words just going everywhere, but in the right order. What's happening? But he's the sales confidence coach, y'all. But hold on just a moment. We'll be right back with you from a brief word from our sponsor. All right, welcome back, guys. And again, thank you so much for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, looking at anything in the world, but you decided to give us your time and your eyes, and we do not take that lightly. Again, this is What's Your Story, and my name is Shenrika. But without further ado, let me bring my awesome guest on so he can, dazzle y'all with his razzle. Awesome day to you, brother. How are you?
Dazzle them with my razzle. Okay.
Hey,
That's a pretty cool commercial you had there. I like the little man counting money with such a serious look on his face.
Right. Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. But thank you for joining us. I appreciate you, agreeing to share your awesomeness. I know you're very busy. That's why we're at 2 o'clock. We had to get on the same schedule, and you go from one thing to the next thing, one podcast to another podcast. So you're in high demand, and I appreciate you. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me, and it was important for me to be here. First off, if you haven't gotten Shenrika's book, Kids Love Money, they just don't understand it. You need to get it, because when you read that book, not only do you are impressed with how much this teaches children, but you also get a chance to feel the author's heart. And that's what I got out of the book. So I think you're a quality person. I consider you a friend. So I couldn't say no. And it was just, I appreciate your persistence in getting us on the schedule. I know we tried once or twice before. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm intending to bless your audience as best I can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. But without further ado, Brian, this is What's Your Story, where we just, share, empower, heal, and inspire for the most part. But going to let the people know what's your story, who you are, how you came to be, what you're working on, what you got coming up, all of that great stuff. And he's one part empowerment duo. So I forgot to mention that, but he'll tell you some more about that. I'm sure.
Well, let me say this much: a show like this one, where you've asked the same question a few different ways. What's your story? Very how often do we as adults get a chance to really tell our story? Not very often.
I know.
So, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna tell my story. I'm the sales confidence coach right now, and I do really, really well in business, but I haven't always been a sales confidence coach. It was a rocky road for me. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to start it at age 23, and I won't make it boring if I can help it. But age 23, my pretty wife came to the job and said, we pregnant. She never came to the job before. Man, I got excited, but I realized now that we're pregnant, we need more money than I was a front desk supervisor at a
Mm-hmm.
hotel.
Okay.
Front desk supervisor, which basically means I got paid maybe 50 cents more than the other front desk clerks, maybe.
Right. A wee bit, right?
Right. But it wasn't enough money. I didn't think it was enough money for a family. And
Mm-hmm.
people, the guests, when they come in every week, some of them were saying, Brian, you're so personable. You'd be good at sales. And I didn't even know what that meant.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be good at sales. So I knew I needed more money. I looked in the newspaper and I saw entry level sales, we will train.
Mm.
That's what I needed, entry level sales. And it was a straight commission job. How many people know
Wow.
what that is? Straight commission.
Mm. Yes.
23 years old, straight commission job, pregnant wife. How about that?
Mm. That's a combination right there.
And I was, they hired me, and I made like no money. I was the worst salesperson at the office because the training consisted of hang in there. Okay, that
Mm.
was the training. You'll figure it out. Hang in there. Yes, that's what happened to me. And I was dying. I was hurting. They had a leaderboard, Shanrika, where every month they put the top salesperson's name on the top, and then the
Mm-hmm.
second place person, then the third, then the fourth, and the fifth. And we had 15 salespeople. My name was always at the very bottom or next to the bottom.
Mm.
And the other salespeople wouldn't even talk to me. I was the youngest one there. There was
Wow.
only two black people on the sales force out of 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was disgusted with them, okay, because they were not nice and ethical men.
Right.
I'm a believer, I'm a good guy, and I couldn't believe the way they talked about their customers, and it was just driving me crazy. How can these unscrupulous men make so much money? And they were all
Right.
making significant money, and I kept trying to quit. And the sales manager, I would go and say, look, man, I'm not making no money. I'm gonna quit. And he would talk me out of it every time. Look,
Mm-hmm.
Brian, you're gonna get it. Hang in there, man. You don't need to quit, man. You're gonna be fine. Hang in there. And I okay, I'll give it another week. And I was
Uh-huh.
dying. I was
Mm.
dying, Shamrik. I was in pain. I was making like very little money trying to feed my family and give my wife a little bit of money. And
Mm-hmm.
I was hurting.
Yeah.
And one day I discovered a used bookstore, and I ended up in a business book section. And it's about by providence, my hand landed on a book called How to Master the Art of Selling. I didn't
Mm.
even know there was such a thing as a book on selling.
Wow.
And it had Tom Hopkins' book. And on page 4 of the book, it talked about how you cannot fail in the world of selling. How
Mm.
you cannot fail. And it was basically saying if you just do what you're supposed to do, you can't fail. But I needed someone to say that to me. I'm 23 years old, 23 years old. I needed someone to speak some positivity in me because I was hurting.
Yes.
And I bought that book, and I started reading those pages, and I started to make a little bit more sense to me. And I read another book after I finished that one, and another, and another, and another. And I started to sell better and better and better and better and better. I knew I didn't know what I was doing. So
Mm-hmm.
anything the book said do, I would just do it. Okay.
Right.
I didn't care what it said because I knew I didn't know. So whatever the book
It
said
ain't
do,
gonna
I
hurt
was going to
then.
try it. Okay. And I started making more money, and
Mm-hmm.
life got better. My car got better. My clothes got better. My household got better. And then they made me the corporate sales trainer, and I was doing my thing. I was flying. And then, like a couple of years later, I'm doing all the sales training. I'm writing reports and everything. And someone said to me, Brian, where's your book? You quoting all these other books. Where's yours? And I
Mm.
ain't have one. And I was like, oh, I ain't have no books. So, but I'm going along and I'm working for a company. But then the bug hit me, my sister. Brian, why are you doing all this hard work for them? Why don't you hang out your own shingle and go in business for yourself? Start your own sales training company.
Right.
And I decided to do that. My first company was called Rhino Sales and Seminars. Rhino, okay? And the first month I went into business myself, Shanrika, I made a lot of money that first month, and
Uh-huh.
then less money the second month, and less money the third month, and less money the fourth month, less money the fifth month, and
Wow.
I'm in trouble. I got car payments and mortgage. You need to go get a real job, Brian, and I did. So I
Mm,
quit my business and went back into a corporate world, but I didn't like it. I
yeah.
felt defeated, and then I got back my confidence again, and I tried it again. Same thing happened. I made a lot of money the first month, and then less and less and less and less till it was no money. And then I had to go get a real job again. Tail tucked between my legs. Quit. I
Mm,
ain't like it, but I had a wife and kids and house and car payments. Man got to do what a man got to do, right?
right.
Oh, but I ain't like it.
Yeah.
Went back into corporate world, got good again, got my confidence back up again. I wanted to try it again, so I wanted to open my own company again. I'm not gonna make the mistakes I made the last two times. Same thing happened. First month was the biggest month. Then the less and less and less and less. It was like no money. Like what the heck keeps happening? I know
I
why I
know.
do it every time. The first month, every time I tried, I'm armed with nothing but enthusiasm, and I'm just hitting it hard. Enthusiasm. I had no leads, no contacts, no nothing. I just was cold calling and rocking it out. And then what happens when you work hard like that in selling? You get clients, right?
Right.
So now I got clients to service, but I'm not doing any prospecting. I'm not doing any marketing.
You
All I'm
got
doing is
comfortable.
servicing. Yes. So I get the clients, get the money, and then I just focus on them and stop networking, stop prospecting, and all that. And that's a mistake. You can never stop prospecting. You got to keep that
Right.
going. So then the fourth try. Okay. Now between the third and the fourth try, my wife didn't want to play no more. Okay. I don't want to be married to you no
I'm
more.
sad.
Yeah. It's marriage over. Okay.
Oh.
And I was in a deep, funky depression. I didn't want my marriage to be over. I didn't want it to happen. I was deeply messed up. I was thrown off my game. I was in a deep depression. I didn't even know I was depressed until this girl I was trying to date told me. You know, and because I was so depressed, Enrica. My marriage ended. My business failed. I left my city. I was in a bad, bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And this pretty young lady I'm dating her, very nice, sweet as can be, and I would just yell at her all the time. Okay, I was messed up, but I'd always apologize though.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, she would just say anything crazy. I'm like, "Rah!" And then after I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that. I'm sorry, and I'd be crying and apologizing. What's
Mm-hmm.
wrong with me? And then she'd do it again. I'd go off on her, and then I apologize immediately. That was terrible for her, I'm sure. But I
Yes.
didn't understand. My body was jacked up. Everything was off. And one day we had went to the gym to work out, and after the workout, get in the car. She was so happy. That was nice. We worked out together at the gym. I heard, "Rah!" And then I'm apologizing in the car. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She goes, Brian. I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. Nothing wrong with you, Brian. You're just depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Depressed. Never even thought about that. I
Wow.
looked it up, and then I went to. It turns out I might be depressed. I went and looked up a place to go check myself in and talk to a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and they asked me, "Do I ever think about killing myself?" And at the time, I said yes. They said,
Mm-hmm.
"How often do you think about it?" I said, "All the time." They said, "Have you ever thought about how you would do it?" I was like, "Yes, I would do it in my car. I would drive into a building real fast or over a bridge or something." And they made me stay there that night. And
Mm-hmm.
I was chemically depressed. When you get stressed and taxed, Sharika, there's chemicals in your inner ear, and they 3 cups, and they get more fluid gets in one cup than another cup, and you're chemically off balance.
Yeah.
That's where I was. So I needed the drugs to help me out. Zoloft got me back even again, and then I could make it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into business again for myself. And same thing was happening again. And I was like, oh Lord, I was living alone at this time, but I was behind in rent. I was behind in car payment.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Lord, I don't care what happens this time. I'm not quitting. I don't care if they take my home, they take my car. As long as I got clothes on my back at the time, I'm not quitting. I'm standing in my living room talking to my heavenly Father,
Mm-hmm.
crying in my living room, just me and my cat Archie. I had a bachelor pad, me and a cat named Archie. And I believe that was the moment that my life turned, because I believe my Heavenly Father heard me saying,
Mm-hmm.
this time I finally passed the test. Entrepreneurs, you are going to have to pass this test. The test is, how much pain are you willing to take before you quit?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to answer. You don't get to not answer that question. Some people say, I'm willing to take the pain of being late a month or two, okay, and then I have to go get a job. But it was a tougher test than that for me. But I had to finally pass that test, and I did, because I
Mm-hmm.
decided I didn't care what I meant it. I meant it. I could lose everything. I ain't have pride or nothing no more. I ain't care. I wasn't gonna quit. I had a cell phone. I had my
Mm-hmm.
laptop. I wasn't gonna quit. And I got a phone call a few days after I had that moment, just me and God. And the phone call said, "Hey Brian, this is on a Wednesday. Brian, we have an event coming up this Friday. The speaker that we booked just told us he can't come. The
Mm.
pay is $2,500. Can you come?" Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
Shamrika, I ain't never needed $2,500 more in my life,
Right.
but that money was enough to say pay my rent,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and a car payment, and it
Yeah.
was enough to keep me afloat, and it changed me. It changed me. So I know this is like, what's your story? And I got a chance to tell the whole story. To now, I've learned some things now, and I'm better at it now. But I wanted you to know, and your loving audience to know, that yeah, a lot of stuff looks like it's going good for me right now, but it ain't
Mm-hmm.
always been that way, boy. I tell you, I had
That's
to
right.
cry, and I had to
Mm-hmm.
sweat, and I had to bleed, and I had to read, and I had to give up some sleep to make this stuff happen.
Yeah, but you wanted it, so I mean,
Yeah.
and that's what made the difference, and you were willing to do what it had, what you had to do and go through what you had to go through to get there, and a lot of times, we don't want to go through that. It sounds good, we
Yeah.
see everybody else, doing what they doing, like, oh yeah, I can do that too, but we don't see the back end, what they put into getting to where they want, where they are now. So I mean, but yeah, that's an awesome story. So I mean, you start out sucking, at sales, but and then you kept trying, but that's that persistence. You kept trying and you kept trying until you was like, okay, look, I'm gonna get this thing,
Yeah.
and you learned along the way, because I mean, you have lots of stories, just throughout your experience,
Hmm.
where from entrepreneurs, yeah, you have to really want it. But just say the person is not in business or not an entrepreneur. So how would selling, pertain to just everyday life?
Great question. Um, I do believe that there's three skills that are valued higher than any other skill. They
Mm-hmm.
mean more, and they have more to do with your happiness or sadness than any other skills, your success or failure, your prosperity or poverty. But the skills I think are the most important in life. One is the ability to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
How well can you communicate? Can you articulate a thought? Can you listen? Can you
Mm-hmm.
understand what someone else says? Do you know how to ask appropriate questions? How well can you communicate? I think that's like the first one.
Oh
People
yeah.
who can communicate. Our country has always been led by great communicators,
Mm-hmm.
except until Trump came into office, but always been led by whoever can
Best of.
speak the best, speaking and writing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the people that write, people that speak. Okay, those are the ones that have always run us. Okay,
Yeah,
why? Because
because
that's
they
what,
got this.
yes, that's what it is. And we value that highly. Okay,
Yeah.
but the next one is the ability to sell. The ability to sell, the ability to get money or something of value in exchange for something else. And I look at the ability to sell, and the third one is the ability to lead. How
Mm-hmm.
well can you lead others, which starts with how well can you lead yourself? But those three skills, communication skills, selling skills, and leadership skills, I think mean the most.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let me tell you about selling skills first. And you can sell your way through life. And that's what I titled my time here today. Because you have to, like when your children are 4, 5, and 6, you can make them do stuff because you said so. But when they
Right.
turn 10, 11, 12, and older, they got this crazy word. They're like, why? Or
Right.
mom or dad, this is a better way. Really, kid? Okay. See, you don't understand. This is a new day. When you were a kid, things weren't this hard. Oh, okay. So you have to persuade or sell. School
Right.
systems have paid me lots of money to teach the teachers how to talk to the students and the parents. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, sales skills in the schools. I've loved doing those workshops. I've done them a few times. So, but so now you have to learn how to sell. And I look at selling the way it was originated. The origination of the word is a Greek compound word coming from two words, sell and ye, which literally mean to help. Your
Hmm.
job is to help people. And the Old English origination comes from a word called salon, which means willing to give up. If you're willing to give it up, if you're willing to help people, and then I lean into Proverbs 11 and 26, where it says, people curse the ones that withhold the grain,
Mm-hmm.
blessings upon the ones that will sell it.
Hmm.
Your grain is your intellectual property. Your grain is what you know how to do. And then you're supposed to, the way I interpret that scripture, is you're supposed to sell it in exchange of something of value. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't sell it, curses upon you. You're supposed to. We
Hmm.
got a we got a parable of the talents. It's the same story is told in three different books. The same story is in Matthew, it's in Mark, it's in Luke as well.
Right.
The story of the talents. The master is going to go away for a while. He has these three servants. He gives one 5 talents, one 2 talents, and one talent. Notice, I always thought it was interesting. They get talents was units of money back then, but you know
Right.
what? Isn't it still? Your talent can still be a unit of money.
Right. Because
You
yeah.
use your talents to make money. The one with the 5, he's gone. One with the 5 talents went and bought some materials, made some more stuff, sold the stuff, and doubled the money. Second
Mm-hmm.
guy did the same thing, bought some materials, made some stuff, sold some stuff, and doubled the money. The third guy was afraid. He says, I
Mm-hmm.
know my master's hard, and I don't want to lose his money. I don't want to waste this talent or lose this talent. So I'm going to hide it in the ground. I'm going to bury it and cover
Mm-hmm.
it up and bury it in the ground and cover it up and hide it. And when the master comes, I know you know the story, but
Right.
it's warming me up. Okay. The ones that had worked with their money and made their money, earned them more money, they were
Mm-hmm.
welcomed into the inner courts where there was going to be feasting. The
Right.
one who hid his money and didn't do anything with his talent, you lazy and wicked servant, get out of here. You're going to be banished into the outer court, but there's going to be weeping and gnashing of the teeth, okay? Because you're sorry, you know, you wasting your talent. And those stories are in Brother Brian's head. I cannot waste my talent. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
anyone else to waste their talent because I know the consequences of wasting your talent. You got to
Right.
do something.
And also that story, kind of made me think about when they talk about all the potential that's in the graveyard.
Yes. And it's so true,
Same.
but it's also so sad. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to be that way. And I don't want anybody that I get a chance to touch in any kind of way because I know every single one of us has something that we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of us has something unique that we're here for. The book you wrote, Kids Love Money, I could not have written that book. I didn't get the inspiration to write that book. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get anything about that book, but you did. Okay. So it was important that you publish it. It's even important that you let the world know about it.
Oh
Your,
yeah.
the way I see it, your job is not to sell it so much, but your job is to motivate people to
Mm-hmm.
taste test it. Try this out. You know, motivate them. I see you more as a motivational speaker than a
Mm-hmm.
salesperson of your books. I think you have to motivate people to love their children enough to educate them this way.
Right.
That's how
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. And I know, now Brian has a sales academy, so I have, participated somewhat. I ain't gonna lie, it started out all good, but I ain't even gonna get over here and lie. Be like, I did the class, but he is a phenomenal teacher. But it is what you put in. So I mean, I gotta say that.
And I
But
appreciate that, but sometimes it's timing.
yeah,
Your mind may not have been ready to receive all of that. And I got blessed with one of my clients, past clients, who didn't do much with what the training she had with me. I'm
mm-hmm,
better at training now than I was even when I was with you. And
mm-hmm,
she told me, Brian, Brian, it was a whole year before some of the stuff he was talking about before it made sense to her. She was trying to get it while we was going through training, but it wasn't sticking, it wasn't registering. And I
yeah,
had no idea because she seemed like she was following. She says this was a whole year later before it made sense to her, and that taught me a lot of lessons, actually. And one of my coaches told me, Brian, as long as you're impacting improvement, you're doing your job. If I'm
Yeah.
impacting improvement at all, you're doing your job. And I want to do my job every time, so I used to get so upset with my clients who would pay me the money and then not do the stuff. I'd be upset with them. Not anymore. Not anymore, because I understand now. I got more
Right.
cotton in my face now. Life has taught me
Right.
some things.
So, what do you say to people? I mean, people who don't see themselves
Okay.
as natural sellers, because
Well,
like
they
me,
are.
I
Okay.
never felt like I was a natural, even though every like aptitude test I take, it says, oh, you're great at sales. I've even sold Cutco. I don't know if you know what that is.
I know what
First
it is.
weekend,
Knives, pots and pans. Yes.
the
That's a
best knife
horrible
in the
job
world.
for anybody. But anyway.
But I was like the top seller the first weekend, and
Yeah.
I guess it's like you say, you kind of you make a lot of money, and then it's like after that you get kind of content, and then so you don't do anything else. And I don't know, but I've never looked at myself as a natural seller. So for other
Okay.
people who
Look
don't
what you
feel like
just
they
did.
are,
Okay. You just did two things there. First off, you just gave me a great presentation on why you're not a salesperson. You sold me on it, okay? So yes, you are. And people who think they don't like selling, like if I had 100 people in the room, I say, how many people here don't like selling? Raise your hand. What
right? And
percentage of the people
everybody,
you think? Yeah, you think most people gonna raise their hand? Probably 90% of them will say they don't like selling. And everyone who raised their hand saying they don't like selling, they're all lying. I can prove it. They think they don't like selling, but I'm gonna tell you why I know that's not true. Now, has
okay,
anybody ever bought anything from you, Shamrika? Ever bought anything
yeah,
from you when
mm-hmm.
after you got the money, you said
Mm-hmm.
to yourself, you know what? I did not like them paying me for what I was offering. I didn't like that. They gave me money for what I was offering, and I didn't like that part of it. Have you ever thought that? No.
No,
Everybody loves getting the money for exchange for it. So you do like the selling part. That's the part of selling. What you don't
okay,
like is the stuff around the sale. You don't
okay,
like the potential for no, and you don't like the not knowing what to say first, second, and third. The potential for no and not knowing what to say and do, those things can be trained. But the actual selling part of it, you do love it. You love to get the money in exchange for it. Everyone does.
right,
Okay. So you do love to sell. You just don't like the other stuff. Now,
right,
people who are trying to make it through life learning how to sell, first thing you do is learn how to communicate well, listen well, speak clearly, and don't use jargon, industry jargon. You do have to persuade your children. How can you persuade your children? How can you persuade your wife? I believe every day I have to make 3 sales because I'm
mm-hmm.
married. Okay. 3. I have to sell myself that I'm good. I got to
Mm-hmm.
sell to the person in the mirror that I'm
Mm-hmm.
worthy of the space I occupy. I have to sell my wife that I'm worthy of her being a loving wife to me. I have to be a loving husband. I have to earn my keep as her husband. I have to earn the right for her to still want to be my wife every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to sell to the marketplace. That means everyone outside of my house. I have to make sure that I put myself out there as someone credible, someone honest, someone worthy of doing business with. Those are 3 sales you got to make all the time. And if you don't live, if there's any single person in your home with you, anyone who has another person besides themselves, you have to sell that other person too. That you are going to be in there for their good. You're not there for their harm. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by selling. Okay.
Right.
I don't have to ask Lisa for money, my wife for money. I don't have to ask myself for money, but I do have to sell myself that I'm worthy of the space I'm occupying. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, I mean, since you say that, we go through life selling to, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, whether it's to somebody we're trying to date, or someone, a job we're trying to get,
A
or a
job,
client we're
definitely.
trying to get, and to our kids, because I mean, to everybody, we're selling ourselves at all times. So I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it like that, but
The
yeah,
challenge is people have a negative connotation to the word selling. Okay.
yeah.
And I understand why. They earned that negative connotation over time. Like if I had a bunch of single women in the room, okay,
Hmm.
I had a bunch of imagine we had a bunch of single women in the room, you and I up front, okay, and we said, all right, ladies, we have some men to introduce you to, and we're gonna bring them out here. The first guy we're gonna bring you to, he's a salesman type. How many of you guys want to meet him? He's a salesman type. How many of y'all want to meet him? What percentage you think gonna want to meet him?
Probably not. Maybe 1%, but maybe
Why?
they're gonna be like, oh, he
Why do you
slick,
think that is?
he talks slick. Yeah, he one of them what they call them fast talkers. You know how they say them.
See?
You know?
See?
He one of them fast talkers. He just gonna try to talk me out of my goods.
Right. And that person, the reason why they feel like they've seen enough movies,
Mm-hmm.
seen enough books, they've seen enough plays, they've dealt with enough people who
Right.
treated them badly. But at one time, you could get away with doing that in selling in this country. Because at one time, the salesperson had the advantage over the consumer. They knew what the products really could do. They knew what the
Mm-hmm.
products really was. And the customer had the hope they had an honest salesperson. But that ain't the
Right.
case now. We can Google him right in his face. Okay. We're going to look at reviews no matter what he say or she
Right.
say. We're going to check them
Mm-hmm.
out first. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody can get away with being dishonest today. We can check everybody out. Everybody. So today's salesperson has to be the most honest person in the room, in my opinion, because you can't get away with it. You know, you can check
Yeah.
everybody out. If somebody does a bad, over again gets a bad review, I don't even watch a Netflix movie without checking out what the reviews are because I don't want to waste 2 hours on a movie that I might not like. Okay,
Right.
I'm not so vain as to think people are going to hire me without checking me out. Okay, they're either going to try my stuff out, they're going to look at what other people said about me, and then they might consider me. That's the world we live in today. So you got to be more honest. That salesman type, he's going to be a good communicator. He's going to be,
Yeah.
yes, he's going to be. Now, people who have a negative connotation with salespeople, they have a difficult time selling. I'm gonna tell you
Mm.
why. They don't like salespeople. They don't like people who sell all that kind of stuff. Their subconscious mind doesn't want them to do anything that they find distasteful. So if you find
Mm-hmm.
the act of selling distasteful and low, your brain is not going to let you do it well. It's going to
Right.
impede you. It's going to get in your way. But the opposite is true too. Haven't you met some people who have sold you things that turned out to be for your benefit?
Yeah.
Of course you have. It's impossible for every salesperson to be to your detriment. Some of them had to have been to your benefit too.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
especially if you sell something that you believe the person will be better off. You got to know that they're going to be better off if they buy from you. The
Mm-hmm.
parable of the talents convicts my spirits every day, but so does the sin of the desert. That convicts my spirit every day too. The
Right.
sin of the desert is when you know where the water is, but you're not willing to tell anybody else. Or if you know where the solution is, but you keep it to yourself. The sin of the desert is height of selfishness. If you have
Mm-hmm.
something that will benefit the others and you're not willing to sell it, you are being selfish. You're committing the sin. You have
Right.
something that will make their lives better, but you're not willing to tell them about it, not willing to offer it to them. Okay. Well,
Mm.
they might not want to hear it, or they might be tired, whatever. Any excuse, you're still the one committing the sin.
Well, yeah, and that's true.
Hmm.
Sharing is caring. Sharing
Yes.
is caring.
Yes. If you had a bunch of water bottles, a pallet full of water bottles, and I'm thirsty, would you give me one?
Yeah,
Of course you would. Why would you do that?
because I care
Because you
and
care.
I have it. Yeah, I have it. So I mean, why would I withhold it from you?
Right. Now let's say you had it and decided, nah, you can't get it from me, bro. I'm keeping my waters. Okay. That means you get to be selfish and I get to stay thirsty.
Right.
Okay. I get to go without.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the parable of the Proverbs 11:26. People curse the ones that withhold the grain. You're withholding the water. Curses
Right.
upon you. The people going to curse at you because you're not willing to let them get some water or the grain. They're going to curse you. But if you're willing to sell it, let's say you said, look, I know you're dying of thirst here. It's a hot day. I got these water bottles. I'm selling these water bottles for $1 a bottle. Okay. And you can have it. I'm willing to sell it for $1 a bottle. Okay, great. I'm dying of thirst. Here's my dollar. And I'm not thirsty no more.
Right.
Bless you for being willing to sell it to me.
Oh yeah.
Bless you for being willing to sell it to me. I wanted the water. You had the water. I had to hope you'd be willing to sell it, and you were willing to sell it. Bless you. But now, if that same scenario, if you weren't willing to sell it, blank Chanrika. All
Right.
that water over there and won't even let me get any of it. I need water. She's keeping it all on herself.
Right. I hope that water dry up. You gonna open the water bottle and be empty.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, yeah,
Yeah. I hope
gotta be
somebody
willing to
listening
share.
to this show can kind of get that analogy. If you offer something that helps people, you owe it to them. You owe it to them to motivate them to take your solutions. You do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Brian, we about to wrap this up. Any last words for the good people? What you got going on? I know he does story time with Paw B.
And
For
tonight at
those of you
9.
who have
Yeah, Tuesday through Thursday, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I tell a story, typically useful fiction. Tonight at 9 p.m., I'm telling a story that's true. And the title of the story is The Little White Girl and the Blood Wings. Okay,
Mhm.
tonight at 9. And that's a true story. The Little White Girl and the Blood Wings. But also, I do a daily show with my wife called Let's Talk About It from 9 a.m. until, 9:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I do a weekly podcast called the Sales Confidence Podcast every Tuesday at 1 p.m. I'm happy to be here speaking tonight with you today. I'm speaking again tonight at 7 p.m. on another big conference. I'm also a speaker at the Influencer Conference. That's another big conference this Friday. I'm speaking
Okay.
at 12 in the afternoon, 12 or 12:30. But at the Influencer Conference, they got big name speakers all over the conference. And I don't have a big name like they do, not yet. But I'm
Nice.
one of the subject matter experts and speakers. And I'm speaking on sales, of course. So I keep a podcast schedule, an active podcast schedule. I think podcasts are the way to go. They're just the way to go. There's so many podcasts you can get on other folks' podcasts. So I do 2 or 3 or 4 podcasts a week.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I know you're very, high demand there.
Well,
Very busy.
same thing in business. I ask for opportunities. I raise my hand saying I'm available to. I go to the different sites saying I would like to speak on. You got to do
Okay.
your part. Okay. I didn't get
Yeah.
4 podcasts a week by accident. I raised my hand. I made myself available. I demonstrated credibility.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate you, joining us today and, sharing your awesomeness and, giving the people something to think about. And hey guys, that's his information at the bottom if you want to connect with him. It's his Facebook, his website.
That's it.
Check them out. The Empowerment Duo is their page that they do Let's Talk About It, the daily show that they do every week. But yeah, reach out to them, follow them, connect with them. Y'all might be able to work up on something, that's gonna help somebody else.
That's right.
All right. Well, Brian, again, thank you so much. And thank y'all for joining us, everybody. Sorry we didn't say hey, but hey, y'all, hey. And and all of that good stuff, we was running our mouth. But this has been What's Your Story, where we share, empower, heal, and inspire. My name again is Shenriku Crawford Benjamin. I'm your host, and this is my wonderful guest.
Brian K. McNeill, the sales confidence coach.
And we're going to say have an awesome rest of your day and your week, guys. See you later.